My name is Mark Thomas. Hi everyone. I just wanted to first of all start by thanking the police for providing this level of protection for us against the vicious, evil thugs across the road, and just urge them if they might in future be a tad more proactive in rooting out illegality and criminality as it is just across the bridge. 2 years ago, and I don't say that flippantly because 2 years ago I got in through a mistake on behalf of DSEi and their admin policy. I got into the arms fair and was escorted round under military escort. And the chap there, who was a very, very polite sort of ex-army fella, said to me, he said, "Don't you think there's a reason for this?" He said, "Don't you think that we have a cause? Don't you think that defence is important? Don't you think that there's an argument for détente? Don't you think there's an argument to defend legal business?" And on each of those points, I want to say that man is wrong. There is no defence over there. The idea that countries can actually defend themselves and therefore need an arms trade is fine if you actually take the right that people can defend themselves. And the idea that there is a détente actually is a fine idea. But if there's détente, then there should be actually a balance there. And there's not. There's an imbalance. The balance works in favour of human rights abusers, aggressors and invading nations. Over there are representatives from Indonesia who has invaded Aceh, who occupied East Timor, who has invaded West Papua, who actually is stirring in the Molucca Islands. Over there is Colombia, where actually the government fund paramilitaries. Over there is China, who has invaded Tibet, and yet there are no Tibetans, there are no Palestinians queuing up to buy their arms to get their détente. There is an imbalance of the aggressor happening at DSEi. And as for the fact that he's saying it's legal business, I would like to point out that 6 nations that are attending the fair are 6 of the 7 nations who have been, who BAE systems are being investigated for bribing. BAE systems will be at the centre of DSEi, and they are under the accusations of being the biggest bribing company in existence. And as you know, they've actually had, the government goes to extraordinary lengths to protect BAE systems, even to the degree of cancelling the police investigation into the allegations of bribery and corruption. And we would urge the officers here, if you have any contacts, you could just nudge and reopen it. It would be really helpful. The other thing to say about illegality is one of the very, very, very few things that New Labour has done of any worth is ban the sale of torture equipment. And actually 2 years ago when I went over there, there were 5 companies offering torture equipment, electroshock batons, which Amnesty described as the torturer's tool of choice. There were companies offering leg irons and shackles, all of which is banned. It is illegal to even advertise them. And yet these things were happening over at the arms fair. It is an illegal fair in the respect that illegal activities actually takes place there. The third point I'd make very quickly before handing over to someone is that actually the argument people often say is that the arms trade is good for the British economy. Well, it isn't. We subsidise it. We pay for it about £1 billion a year. Well, you pay for it because I've got this account in Jersey, but you are subsidising the arms fair. And some people say, well, isn't it good that we subsidise industry if it creates economic growth? But economic growth is just a measurement of wage activity, of earnings. A car crash is economic growth. If you look at the number of police who are employed to turn up there. The protest today is economic growth. If you look at the number of camera crews and the number of police here. But car crash is an economic growth. You have all the people who turned up to clear it up. You have the fire brigade, the ambulances. You have all the cone manufacturers. All of those creates economic activity. You have the tollway trucks, you have the insurance companies, you have the MOT, the refits, the parts, the sprays, the mechanics, the garages. All of that is economic creativity. You have, actually if you're lucky it's an accident, so actually people are dragged off in an ambulance and you employ doctors, nurses, porters, admin staff, cleaners, you employ all the people who create the pills, the bandages, the sutures, the needles, the bed linen, all of that. If you're really lucky you bring in the greeting cards industry, sorry to hear about your accident, get well soon. You've got small helium balloons, little teddy bears, all of that, the gift shop, the fruit industry, here's a banana, I love you dad. All of that comes in. If you're really lucky it's a funeral, so you've got coffin makers, undertakers, florists, choirs and vicars. But you don't see a car crash and think the economy is looking up. We have to have morality on this, and we have to say that what happens over there is immoral. My final message really is for the police, and it's very simple, which is a little while ago on Boxing Day I think it was, there's a police officer in Leeds who was killed. His name was P.C. Broadhurst, and he was shot by a gangster. And that gun actually went through the arms system. It came out of Croatian arms company with front companies working in America, front companies working in the British Virgin Islands. It went out into Albania through various networks, ended up in Denmark, and then ended up in Amsterdam, where those guns were transferred to British criminals. The guns on our street are pointed at all of us. It's up to all of us to make an effort to stop the criminality that occurs. Thanks for coming along. Have a good day.